Alrighty. So just start with a brief warm up. It's good morning there for you guys, so you probably had less of a warm up than me. We're just going to do a progressive rotation. We're just going to start with head, so head to the right shoulder, to the chest, the left shoulder, back to center, and again, right shoulder, chest, left shoulder, center, going the other way, left shoulder, chest, right shoulder, center, left shoulder, chest, right shoulder, center. This time we're going to drop the shoulder as well. So if we go to the right shoulder will drop down, and the left side's going to elongate up. So go drop to the right shoulder, forward. So now your whole body will lean forward, or upper body lean forward, to the left, and then pull up from your right shoulder. Down towards the right, forward, to the left, and pull up, going the other way. Drop to the left, drop forward, to your right, and pull it up. And again to the left, forward, right, and up. This one we're going to bend the knees, and we're going to really let it extend quite far down. So you're going to just let it drop to your right. So all the way from the waist, forward to your feet, over to your left, and pull it all the way up. Down to the right, forward, left, and draw it up. Going to the left side now, so let it all hang down, sweep past the feet, pull up by the left shoulder, and down again, forward, right, and up. So I should have warmed up a little bit of the body, upper body. We're going to do some roll downs, so starting from the head, just soften your knees, bring your chin to your chest, let your shoulders and arms hang forward, roll down one vertebrae at a time until you're as low as you can drop. And then from there, just bend the knee slightly, and then from the base of the spine, roll up one vertebrae at a time. So you're really working that spine, one vertebrae at a time, really stretching it out. So your chin will be the last. Taking a breath in, go back down, so the chin to the chest, bring your head towards your legs, reach down towards the ground, bend the knees, soften them. So from the base of the spine, just roll up one at a time until you're back at the head at the top. Going with the legs a little bit wider, so not too wide, just kind of just outside of shoulder. And what we're going to do is go stretch down to one side as far as you can with your hands. So you're getting a long stretch up the opposing side. So just whatever pace you need to go at. All right. Going to warm up arms. So just going to do some big shoulder circles. Again, whatever pace you need to go at. And the other way. And we're going to do a little bit more work with the arms and the shoulders. We're just going to be doing a bit of a press out, so palms away from you, pushing out from the body, pulling it in, and then pushing up above. So imagining if you've got a weight against the palms, you're pushing it away, that's pushing you back, so you're creating any resistance, pushing it up to the sky, and letting it drag you slowly down. It's just a gentle way to warm up here. And the more tension you create for yourself, the warmer they'll get. Rolling out the wrists both ways. Going to do a little bit of lower body. Bring this down. We'll start with the hips. Just gentle circles, small or big, whatever you prefer. And the other way. All right. So with the legs, we're just going to do a bit of rotation. So we're going to bring the leg up towards the front, open it out to the side and down. So we're opening up that hip flexor, just warming it up gently. And the other way, to the back and forward. And the other side, so going backwards. And the other way. So feet a little bit further apart, feet pointing out. It's going to come down into a deep squat. Just take it down as far as you're comfortable, so you're getting a bit of a warmth down through the thighs. And from there, just going to push back with one shoulder against one knee and look up the other way. So it's helping open out that hip flexor as well as open out your shoulder and chest. And the other side. And back down to the center. If you want, you can move it a little bit side to side, again, just warming up those muscles. Coming up. Pressing the feet into the floor, so whatever's comfortable. So it might be the balls of the foot, it might be the top of the toes, it might be a full elongation of the top of the foot, it might be ankle circles, whatever it is to wake up your foot to yourself. Might hear it crack a few times, click here and there. And the other foot. Just going to do a little bit of an Achilles and hamstring stretch. So both feet pointing one direction, body facing the same way, both legs straight. You're going to kneel, so you're going to bend the front leg, keep the back leg straight, so you're getting the stretch up here. And then just gently in your own time, you're going to switch so that both legs come straight. And now the back leg bends, and you point the toes up on your front foot. So that helps create a stretch in here. So you bring these toes backwards. Then you can just move forward to the lunging forward position, stretch the other hamstring. And then when you're ready, also just coming back the other way. We're just warming up hamstrings in two different ways. And then we're going to change feet so that we work the other set. So again, kneeling forward, we're getting a stretch of the back leg, and coming back and peeling back the toes, so you're increasing the stretch in the front leg underneath the at the back. Forward, back, forward, and back. All right. How are we feeling? Reasonably warm? Yeah. All right. So, as per request, I'm going to start with some Jukendo. So, mokuju outs. All right. Just going to start with a little bit of kihon to warm up the body. So, just going to be doing dattotsu. This first one, we're not moving with it. We're just going to be doing thrust so that we can focus on our technique. Make sure you're going from the angled rotation to straight. So make sure it's a 15-degree angle here, and it rotates each time. It rotates forward, rotates back. Also aiming to make sure that when you finish the strike, you have a horizontal mokuju. You don't have it pointing down or up. This is the best alignment to match someone of your own height, and that your front hand is determining the extension forward, and that's what will bring your backhand across your chest. So don't worry about necessarily where the backhand is, as long as it's somewhere where your kata would be roughly. The front hand determines extension because that has to be locked in order to support you, running into someone and pushing against. Can't do that with a soft elbow. So again, running into someone, you need that locked arm. So I'll count out ni tatsuita, but again, if you need to change the pace, go right ahead. And all we're doing is just changing the distribution of weight between our feet. So, hajime, nita, tsuita, nita, tsuita, nita, nita, tsuita, nita, tsuita, nita, tsuita, nita, tsuita, nita, tsuita, nita, tsuita, nita, good, tsuita, nita, tsuita, nita, tsuita, nita, tsuita, nita. So we're going to speed it up. Nita, tsuita, 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 nita, tsuita. One more. Nita, tsuita. Roll it out. Now we're going to do Maitsuki. So again, depending on your room, you might have to come back up each one. What we're really doing is focusing on that standard ski strike. So making sure that it's a really strong movement with the arms, again, locked, pressed against the body, and that this back foot isn't just pushing off, but it's coming in quickly. So remember to pull that leg in underneath you as fast as you can so it's stable. So, skip, yo, finish, 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 yo, and relax. Okay, so should be feeling a little bit warmer now. Everything's ready to keep going. Not going to worry about doing chokutotsu sambu because we basically did that. What we're going to do is just looking at ura from both sides. So whether you're using the camera as your target point or you're using something in your visual range, I want you to mark that point for your eye line. So again, this should be something kind of about your heart height. What I want you to do is we're going to work on coming to one side. So in this case, I'm moving my mokuju to the left. I'm tracing a small circle underneath it as I move forward and do tsuki. So it's hard to do that slow. So I'm coming underneath a little U as I step forward. So from the side, it's a bit harder to see, but I'm bringing it under. So my strike forward, I'm still coming underneath at the time. So I'm trying to stay on the left side of the mokuju as long as possible before I come underneath. And then you're going to go from the other side. So in this case, I open to the right, and then I come underneath towards the left and do tsuki. So ura just refers to below. It isn't referring to coming to one particular side. So you can do ura from both sides of the mokuju. So whether they're on this side of your weapon or this side of your weapon, you can do ura simply by coming underneath. So again, you focus on your target, draw a little shape around underneath it, yeah, and then come back, and then do it from the other side. Yeah. But in your own time. Yeah. 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 Two more. Yeah. Yeah. Good. So in many ways, it's a little bit difficult to teach Shita specifically. It's more of a mental imaging. So the idea with Shita is not that you're aiming here at the top of the chest, you're aiming a bit lower at the bottom of their kata underneath their arms. So it's basically here rather than here is kind of the difference in position. So it's not, there's no difference in the technique of your strike. It's literally that instead of aiming here, I'm aiming here. So I just want you to visualize the other person, as it were. So your inkamai, they're going to push your mokuju out of position up towards your left, and you're going to come underneath and down a little bit lower than you normally would. So the idea is basically they push you out of position, so your weapon's over to your left, which means theirs is over to your left as well. You can come straight through for Shita. So you can take a little bit more time visualizing this. So again, in your own hajime. Yeah. 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 Two more. Yeah. Yeah. Good. All right. So from there, let's do a little bit of might ski mai. So this builds up to an exercise that you can do with a partner a bit more, but this is really just looking at your footwork, continuing pressure after you've made contact with the target. So the idea here is that you're starting at toma, so there's a little step between you. You make your first step in, you do it tsuki, and you follow it up with a slight continued push. So it's not necessarily a full step. What it's doing is you've made contact, and that just ensures that you make that point. So potentially even knocking them over or backwards. So it's not like doing, oh goodness, words. The running step, nagashi. It's not quite nagashi. You're just stopping at the point with a little extra step afterwards to kind of drill the point home that you have hit the target and you've maintained contact. So a lot of people, I guess, when they receive, they just expect a receival and that's it. They're not expecting a receive and a little shove back as well. So it's not a big step. It's more just a little extra pressure off the back leg. So imagine you're starting toma. There's about a half step gap between you. Go one step in, might, and then that little shuffle pressure step, and then retreat. So again, do this one in your own time. Might ski mai hajime. Yeah. 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 One more. Yeah. Good. All right. Just checking time. Okay, so let's just do a little bit of Migi harai tsuki. We're practicing creating a smooth harai straight into the ski. So when you're doing it as kihon, it's more two movements. It's 1, 2, 3, which I know both of you know how to do. So trying to smooth out, this is more kind of, I guess, shiai technique, where it's 1, 2. So the movement becomes 1, 2, like that. So it smooths it out. There's a little less separation. What you need to focus on is with the harai, make sure you're stopping when you would have connected with them. So it's center, don't let it go further. So that it shouldn't be 1 and down here. It should be here, tunuch. And then you're in correct position to go straight into ske. So this is as much about the control with your tunuch to bring it back to center and don't go further because you'll have connected. The force downwards will be enough to give it a harai. Move them out of the way for you to do ski. So this is a lot smaller than kihon. On kihon, we do a much bigger movement. This one, smaller and through. So smaller and through. So you notice I'm not stepping on that harai. What I might want to do is actually extend forward a bit more with my arms to make the distance. That also helps pull you forward for my motion. just keep going. I'm just checking to see if that's someone trying to get into the session. Nope, all good. Once more. Yeah. Good. All right. Grab a drink if you need it. I do because my throat's starting to get a bit dry. So Hidari no harai. This one's a little bit harder to get right. Basically, it's the idea that your weapon is off to your right. Their weapon is inside here, kind of in the ura position. What we're working on is rotating the weapon by bringing our wrist and our forearm up to kind of around the belly button area. But it's away from the body as well. So what should happen is you're coming over the top, hitting it with what was the top of your rifle, and then bringing it down over. Just have to be careful it doesn't turn into this, which is Shita. This is more in line with the belly button, forward of the belly button. So from here to here kind of thing, so touching the body, away from the body, but still staying kind of in line with your spine. So you can just practice that coming up position. So all you're really doing is you're moving it away from the body as you rotate and then rotate back. Over, rotate, over, rotate. So from here, over, rotate. So if you imagine their mokuju is here in terms of alignment, what I'm trying to do is snap over the top of it. So I'm over the top of their weapon before I come back in line towards feet. So just imagine that mokuju there, a little bit lower than yours, more on a straight line. Yours is up slightly and to your right. So rotate, skip. Over to your right, rotate, skip. Yeah. 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 Keep going. I'm just going to try and give you feedback. So Eduardo, just make sure that there's a bit of gap between your body and your arm when you do this, so that, so I'm trying to do it from here. It might just be the angle that I'm seeing from the video, but it looked like you're really close to the body for that movement. So it's more forward, both arms come forward from the hip. So both reach forward. So from here, reach forward with the rotation and out, and just make sure that this backhand is coming away in front of the body when you do the motion.
I was just doing a little, so I have to open more.
So the end of it shouldn't come back into the body. So it should still end up, rotate, and then yeah, so you don't have to bring it back in for that. It's out and over the top, and then back into the hip. So don't worry about bringing it back in at the top of that arc. So out and then back into the hip. Yeah.
Hi.
That'll make it easier.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, good. So Roger, I think you might be rotating up a little bit high. It might just be the angle again. But yeah, kind of just, I guess, halfway between belly button and sternum. You don't really want it coming up here where it's rotated so much that it's hitting the body. So you don't want it to end up with that. You want it out from the body. Yeah. So just don't let it come up too high, because then it starts turning into Shita instead. Yeah, that's a better height. So for this one, it's a little bit more of a flat forearm. So it's kind of coming from down, and then it's coming almost perpendicular to the ground. with that one. It might flick up a little bit from there, but it shouldn't really be coming to this kind of position where you end up with a bit more of a core with that wrist. So it's a lot looser than you might think. All right. Just looking at the time, let's have a look at the Shita no harai because we've already talked about that one as well. So Shita is obviously a little bit different. You've got someone who's probably pointing or got their mokuju at the level of your hip at the front. So all you're really trying to do is hit, again, with the top of the barrel. So hitting over the top of their weapon. And what's happening is you're bringing it up kind of to, this is where it starts touching your body, this harai. So it comes up against the body, pretty much bringing the forearm to your body around about the center. That's losing you distance. So it's better to kind of have towards the spine a bit more rather than back here. This is more gedan naginata, and that doesn't give you as much reach as that does. Remember, we're not trying to hit down here. We're trying to hit over the top here. So it doesn't have to rotate down a huge amount, but you can kneel forward a little bit to increase your extension. And again, both arms reach forward with this motion, so you get closer to their kote as you do it. So down, back around, and then skip. So up, down, skip. Up, down. This is one you can't really bring it straight back to center at the end of the harai. Rotate, rotate. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. Any questions, worries, concerns, jokes of the day?
So we have, yeah, I wasn't doing it before, but the front arm still stretches
Yeah.
as much as they can, right?
Yeah, because the idea is you're trying to get as close to their kote to connect as you can. So the more you can extend your arms forward or extend your movement forward by just even putting your weight towards the front foot and pushing over a little bit, the better it is, because you're going to get closer, get more leverage without bringing yourself closer in terms of an attack distance. So there's nothing technically wrong with doing that. It's just a little bit weak. And if you notice, my kensen's at the edge of my frame when I do that. If I lean my body forward as I do that same thing, it's now out of frame. If I extend my arm and lean forward, I'm getting all that extra distance towards here, because we're really aiming to get near the tape, near their kote. I'm doing that without bringing myself closer to an attack distance. So again, if you're finding that hard, you can do the harais with the step, but again, you're making yourself more of a target. So the more you can stretch out on all the harais with your arms, and just your body weight coming a little bit forward to the front knee, the better an advantage you have for that. Especially if you've got short legs like me, and it would be much easier to step in an harai. This is a really good way to get really close in for less effort as well. All right. Anything else from either of you on that? Or the other one? Okay. So it's about just almost 22. So should we have a look at doing some kata? Might just do a few jutai ones to start with, and then maybe some jutai kan. It'd be good for all of us to go through those again. Unless there's anything specific both of you or either of you would like to do right. Tumbleweeds, okay. All right, so we're going to start. I'm going to act as the uchi. So I will do the senior role so that you've got something to attack. Let's start with, we'll just work our way through 1 through 4. So we're just going to worry about 1 through 4, consolidate them. So remembering that these ones are taking you through the basic techniques. So you as a shidatsu, you're going to show off chokutotsu, dattotsu, kattotsu, nodo-otsuki. So chokutotsu, ura, shita, nodo. So all of my openings should be clear. So if I don't move, it's because I'm waiting for you to do something. And that should give you an idea as to what your next step is, hopefully. If it looks like you're having trouble, I'll say something about it. So we'll try and do each of them twice. First one's a bit of a practice. So come into kamae. We're going to start in shudan. We're going to take 3 steps in. Ich, ni, san. Good. Nice. Gedan. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Nash. Ich, ni, san. Beautiful. So I shouldn't be surprised, both of you know these pretty well. And ich, ni, san, shi, go. Nihonme. So this was hazuzetsuke. Ich, ni, san. We've got a little half step between us. And gedan. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Shida. Ich, ni, san. You're going to step in and push my mokuju to your right. I push it back, giving you the opening for hazuzetsuke. No sunshine. Underneath. Gedan. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. 3本目. So you're just going to give a little nod back to shudan. Ich, ni, san. Half step between us. So you're going to feint towards chokutotsu. And then I will deflect. You'll pull back and come for shita. Come underneath. Gedan. Withdraw. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. Back to chudan. I drop to your back knee. Ich, ni, san. I wait for you. Feint towards my chest. I then deflect. You pull back. I come underneath. Gedan. And withdraw. So thinking about number 4, nodo-otsuki. This time I raise up, creating an open. Good. And then I come back to shudan once I realize that. Ich, ni, san. Good. Gedan. Ich, ni, san, shi, go. And once more, I go up. Correct. Ich, ni, san. Good. Back to center. Gedan. Withdraw. Nice. How do you feel with those ones? I mean, you both look pretty comfortable. All right. Question: how comfortable do you feel with the uchi roll for 1, 3, 4, or do you want me to go over?
For Jutaiju?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to go over them, or you feel comfortable with
them? I think for Jutaiju it's, but 1 to 4 for the uchi is also not easy, but easier. So
Okay, that's fine. We'll leave that then. Now, the question is, do you want to do 5 through 8 as the shidachi, or do you want to look at the jukai?
I was saying that it's easier, but we can do it. So.
Oh, okay. So you do want to do the uchi roll. Okay, that's fine. I'll walk through it. So we'll all do the uchi roll for 1 through 4. There's not a lot to it, but again, it helps because then you can see it from the shidachi side. So Ipponwe is nice and easy. Literally, we're just going to start in chudan. And all we need to think about is how do we create an opening for chokutotsu. So we walk each knee. San, we make sure that we're crossing at mai. Now from here, if you look at my position in the mirror, there's really only one way to make chokutotsu available, and that's to tense up and open up my breastplate, my kata. So literally from there, once you've reached mai, just a little tsunuch with that front hand will bring it out of alignment, and then they can do chokutotsu. They withdraw, they do zanshin, then all we need to do is just bring it straight back to center, lead them into gedan, and lead them back. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, and back up to chudan. So if we do that again, it's just 3 steps in. Ich, ni, san, make chokutotsu available. Tsunuch, they attack, they step back, they step in for a little zanshin. We meet them back at the center, gedan, and withdraw. Back to chudan. Nihonme, so you need to allow an opening for ura, so on the other side of the weapon. So again, we start in chudan. Ich, ni, san. In this one, so for 2, 3, 4, and 6, 7, and 8, we leave half a step gap between us. So from here, we basically just have to wait. So that tells them that they need to do something, which in this case is push us off center, as if they're trying to get to chokutotsu. We then push it back, making ura an option. So they come underneath our weapon, go for ura, retreat, zanshin, and from here, because we're on the wrong side, we come underneath their kensen, back to center, gedan, and withdraw. So again, as long as you think about what you're trying to get them to show off, this is a lot. So 3 steps in, ich, ni, san. We wait, and if they don't do anything, we keep waiting. So we need to wait until they push us to open up the chokutotsu. We retaliate, but go too far, opening up ura. They take that opportunity, they retreat, zanshin, we come underneath the weapon, gedan, and withdraw. And back to chudan. So 3 and 4, we need to think about our openings. In this particular one, we need to create this opening for shita. And there's only one reason that your arm and your weapon would be over this side, and it's if you've deflected a motion, which tells you that you probably need to start down here. So we begin in chudan, we drop our weapon into gedan, pointing at their back leg, which is their right leg, so it's off onto our left side. We walk in, ich, ni, san. There's still that half step gap. So we wait for them. They're going to feint towards chokutotsu because we've left that open. We retaliate by just deflecting up. So it's not a full-on harai, it's a deflection up. We're still keeping this closed in. As they pull back and come in for the strike, you need to rotate your body out to the flat, rotate your elbow and extend it so it opens up, and then that'll open up your shita without endangering your elbow. So you do not want soft elbow when you, so it's a soft elbow when you deflect. When they come in for the actual shita cut, you need to rotate and lock that elbow. So it keeps it out of harm's way. Otherwise, it's left in position to get smashed by their mokuji. So you down at gedan, you deflect up to your right, they pull back, they're coming in for your elbow, so you get your elbow out of the way by rotating your body and your elbow over the top. They pull back, they do zanshin. Again, we come underneath their weapon, gedan, and withdraw. Back to chudan. So again, we need to create that shita opening. So we come down, we walk in, ich, ni, san. They feint towards the open target. We deflect, they pull back, we extend and lock, rotate, they go for shita, they pull back, do zanshin, and we come underneath their weapon, back to center, gedan, and withdraw. And back to chudan. So yohome, this is opening for nodo, so we need to create a nodo opening, and the only way that really happens is if we're open this way. So we have our mokuju entirely out of the way, which again tells us that in order to get there, we've had to have a reason to come down. So we're going to start up higher than they are. As the sensei's tried to explain, the idea here is that the uchi has gone and sat up a little too high, so too high in chudan. Shidachi then takes advantage by coming a little bit lower towards the hip, and we realize our mistake and come back down to chudan. So we raise up, we wait for them to drop down towards gedan, and then we bring it back to chudan. We then have 3 steps in, ich, ni, san, there's still a half step gap. So they're going to go for our hip now, and we just cover it so it's not a harai. It's basically putting it over the top. There's pressure. They pull back, and they come for nodo, which is now open. They withdraw, zanshin, bring it back to center, gedan, and retreat. Back to chudan. Again, we raise up too high. They take the opportunity to go down low towards our hip, come back down to chudan. Ich, ni, san. There's a half step gap. They come in and feint our hip. We cover them. They pull back and out. Went for nodo. Retreat. Zanshin. Center. Gedan. Withdraw. And back to chudan. Any questions on the uchi roll at all? 1 through 4.
Who's the person that adjusts? So when the shidachi goes for sanshin, covering the kote, and then who does we need to go back into kamai, and is it uchi that steps back? Who does the adjustment of this?
Uchi, because uchi is always going to be the senior in this setup, even if you're at the same level. So the uchi is the one who initiates all the formal structure. They initiate the moving into kamai. They initiate that walk forward into partnership. They initiate coming back to center at the end of the technique. If there needs to be an adjustment forward or backwards, so you hit center, again, that's going to be the uchi leading that. So they need to be aware of, have they moved too far forward, have they moved too far back, and how many steps you take will vary. So the uchi will decide that. They'll lead you down into gedan, and they lead the walk back and back into chudan. So really, the uchi is there to provide the framework for the shidachi, just so the shidachi can focus on the technique that they're showing off. The uchi is there to create everything else and take a little bit of that stress off by going, okay, this is what happens next. This is what happens next. Just follow me and you'll be fine. So there's a lot more pressure on the uchi to remember a lot of how the kata is designed. Again, which is why the uchi is generally the senior role. So if you're ever doing this as a grading, it's much easier to be the shidachi because you don't have to remember the order of things. Someone else does. Because it's the same thing for, obviously, when you do the gradings with the sensei, you have to do all the kihon component and oyo before. And it's all up to the uchi to remember what techniques you're doing, what order you're doing them in, how many of them there are, all the commands, because they don't stop and remind you unless it looks like you've really messed it up. So the uchi has to learn that entire pattern for the grading from start to finish. There's a lot of responsibility, but it's good because it teaches you how to open for people and how to give the commands. So it's a great way of learning, but it's a lot of pressure. Yeah, as I said, as long as you think about what are you trying to get the shidachi to show off, the uchi roll gets a lot easier in turning up what kamai or position you're in. All right, so we've got 10 minutes-ish. So let's have a look at the Jutai Tan kata. Now, I've run both of you through all 6 of these before. Normally, it's the shidachi, because the shidachi is a much more fun side. You happy to keep doing that? Or did you want to learn the uchi, which is a lot more boring? Shidachi? Okay. All right, so we'll start off, obviously you'll hold on to the mokuju. I'll grab the kudachi. So for the first three, 1 through 3, you are going to win these kata. This is your time to shine. I have to show you the opening. For most part, my opening should be really obvious as to what you're doing. So with the first one, you're just literally doing chokutotsu. With the second one, I'm putting pressure on your weapon. So you're going to step back, so directly back, and then you're going to come straight in with chokutotsu. For the third one, I've pressured your weapon down. So in order to clear that, you're going to step back and pull it up, but you're also going to come off on the angle, off to the right at the same time. And as you do that, draw down, you're going to come back up in nodo. So the first two are chokutotsu, chokutotsu. Third one is nodo. And so for you, the technique is literally, first one, go straight in. Second one, they push you open, so you step back and then come in once you free your mokuju. And for the third one, they push your mokuju down, so you step out to the right, pulling your mokuju up, and then come back into nodo. So the openings I show you should help you make sense of which of those techniques is coming. So, started our distance. We come into kamae. Again, as uchi, I'll walk you through everything. So you will always start in gedan, and then I will cover you with irami. So all 6 mokuju are always come down into gedan. I'll come to irami, 3 steps in, ich, ni, san. So that's all I do. And again, it makes sense. You do chokutotsu, you step back. Zanshin, I bring our weapons back together. Gedan, and withdraw. We'll do that one again. We bring it up to chudan. From here, I go into irami and you go into gedan. Eduardo down into gedan. Yep. Ich, ni, san. I tense. Good. Yep. I bring us back to center. Gedan, and withdraw. And back up to chudan. Nihonme. Again, you go into gedan as I go to irami. 3 steps in. Ich, ni, san. There's a little half step between us. I'm going to step in and push your mokuju to your left. So you brings it open to your left. You step back. Straight in for chocolate. Draw. I bring us back to center. So this is really, you just step backwards out of the way, pulling your mokuju back in preparation to do tsuki. Chudan. Gedan and irami. 3 steps in. Ich, ni, san. I step in and push your mokuju to your left. Pull straight back. So don't let it drop, just pull it straight back, straight in. Zanshin. Come back to center. Gedan, and withdraw. Sanbonme. You go into gedan and I go into irami. 3 steps in. Ich, ni, san. There's a half step between us. I'm going to catch your mokuju and push down upon it. So it's pushed it down towards gedan. So you can step out to the right, pull it up, and come for nodo. Right. Draw. Zanshin. I'm going to walk you back to center. Gedan, and retreat. Chudan. Gedan and irami. 3 steps in. Ich, ni, san. There's a little gap. I step and push your mokuju to your left. Oh, sorry, down and to your left. My bad. Right, come back to center. Gedan, and withdraw. So that was my bad. I should have said down and left rather than left, because that was useless. Sorry, Eduardo?
It's okay. I just had some my computer froze.
Okay, that's fine. That's right. So 1 through 3, do they basically make sense in terms of the openings that are being provided? At least when I do them properly. Yeah. So it should be fairly clear. So it said, number 1, all that uchi does is start creating that opportunity for chokutotsu. Number 2, they step in and push your weapon out of the way, again creating this opportunity, but you have to step back and then straight back in. Number 3, I'm pushing it down and to the side, which makes it more appropriate for you to step off the line. And then Noto is just right there because you're doing this wonderful sweeping motion and bringing it straight back up. All right. Let's have a look at 4, 5, and 6. Well, we've got a little bit of time. So you get the kadachi this time. I get the mokuju. So I get the boring side. So for you, the first one, all these 3 are irimi seitai. So the first one is basically you're going to come in. You're going to step and push their mokuju to the right, and then keep pushing as you keep walking in until you can grab between their hands with your left hand. So you're going into irimi by grabbing between their hands on the mokuju, push the mokuju down, irimi seitai tsuki, cover their mokuju, and retreat. Number 5, this is a slight variation on your irimi. So you come in, you push their weapon to the right, they step back, and they're going to come straight in at your chest, which then is a natural thing for you to do harai down to your left. So it's a bit like number 6 in some ways. Their elbow is going to be over there, so you're going to step around, grab the elbow, and then stab, and then retreat. Number 6 is very much like Kantai Kan 8 in terms of irimi seitai. You walk in, you force their mokuju down. As they step back and start trying to move from Noto, you push their weapon up, keep pushing it up, grab their elbow, lock it for irimi seitai. So again, with any luck, my openings will be reasonably clear. So again, we start back at distance. I will always start in gedan. You'll always start in irimi. You come in 3 steps, ich, ni, san. I actually bring up my mokuju, and I forgot to mention that before. On all of these, you bring the mokuju up towards to meet the tanken. So you're going to step in and push. So you're going to bring your mokuju, so your tanken on your left side of my mokuju, and push it out here to my left, your right, grabbing between here, push it down, and then irimi seitai. Okay. As you release, cover my mokuju with your weapon, so I can't bring it back up. We go into gedan and withdraw. Back to chudan. So we do that again. I'm in gedan, you're in irimi. Ich, ni, san. You push my mokuju to your right. Then you continue moving in, grab between my hands and push my mokuju down. And then tsuki. Good. Cover my mokuju as you come back. Gedan and withdraw. Okay. Number 6. Same starting position, gedan and irimi. Ich, ni, san. You're going to step in and again, push my mokuju to your right. Yes, so push right. I go, I don't like that. I step back. I go for chokutotsu and you do harai. Yep. You can now grab my left elbow, push it down and do tsuki. Cover my mokuju as you walk back. Gedan. Withdraw. Chudan. We'll do that one again. So I go into gedan, you go into irimi. 5 steps. Ich, ni, san, shi, ro. You push my mokuju to your right. And I step back. I go no. I go for chokutotsu. You have the right. Grab my arm. And cover my mokuju as you retreat. Gedan. and withdraw. Shooter. Number 6. Gedan and Iran. 3 steps in. Ich, ni, san. This time you're just going to push it right down. So you're going to press my mokuju down towards the ground. I step back. I try and go for nodo, and you come underneath. Keep pushing it up until you can grab my left elbow. Then skip. Put your tanken against my mokuju as it comes down, so I can't come down on top of you. Gedan. Withdraw. Gedan. Once more. Gedan and irami. 3 steps in. Ich, ni, san. You pressure my weapon down. I step back. I go for nodo, and you catch. Push it up. Grab my elbow. Yep, good. And then just make sure that I can't bring my mokuju down on top of your head. Get down and withdraw. And back to Shita. Okay. Do either of you have any questions about 4, 5, and 6 at all? Or even 1, 2, and 3? I don't
No, I sort of remembered them, and just adding and reminding myself. So that's good.
Yeah, oh good. How about you, Eduardo?
I just have one doubt here, well, that I know of, but it's one doubt. It's on number 6 on the tanken side. When we push down the mokushu, what's the angle that we do for the pushing down?
That one I'm not entirely clear on myself, to be honest. So if you were walking in, generally it'd be kind of like more of a point to point rather than a crossing over, because otherwise it doesn't really work for you to step in and push, step in. So I think it just depends on your preference. If you want to step in and push it down to the right, that's kind of a weak on the wrist, I tend to think. If you come over the top, it feels a little bit stronger because you've got the power of all of your wrist behind it. I mean, there's nothing to say you can't do it that way, but it's much easier to break your position, and you kind of have to step out on the left to do that. Whereas if you're coming over the top and rotating over the top with your arm and wrist, you can pretty much step straight in and you don't have to step off the line. And then when they pull back to do nodo, all you have to do is pretty much raise the arm straight up. So if you really prefer that way, until the sensei tells you otherwise, I think that's fine. But I think it makes more sense, it's a bit more stable to rotate the wrist over the top. So from the center down to your left. And then you can bring it straight back up when you're blocking for the irami seitai, rather than having to go round and then round. That makes sense?
Yes. So and so we go forward and it's completely flat, the angle and.
I mean, I think it's probably getting a bit extreme if I over rotate, and that's kind of weakening as well. Flat's probably the most. This is still giving you a good support, because if they push up against it, you can still push down. That's a bit harder to fight against. So I wouldn't say do it entirely flat. More of an angle and press down using kind of the bottom edge of your weapon. So not the sharp blade of the weapon, but just that little bit of the side to press down against it more than anything. Yeah. Again, if you think about if someone is pushing up against your weapon, that's much easier to move your arm. That's obviously not going to do anything. That kind of angle, you can still push down a lot more easily against their weapon if they're coming straight back up. Yeah. All right. Any other questions, comments, theories, conspiracies? No?
Thank you all.
No, it's good to see you both. Yeah, and you know the rules next weekend is whoever votes for whichever day the most is who gets one. So if there's any techniques people want to look at, again, let me know. Always happy to make these pretty flexible. Was that enough kihon for you today, Eduardo? To balance out the kata?
Sorry, I didn't get the last part
okay.
that you were saying.
Oh, that's okay. I was basically saying, was that enough kihon balanced out with kata for you? So, yeah, okay. Alrighty. Well, look, I hope you both have a lovely day. It looks like it's reasonably sunny out there, both of you. Yeah, not too sure. But yeah,
It's getting better.
Cool. So depending on what people want to do, I might run one Tuesday night. I'll put it up in the chat. Otherwise, I'll put up the request to see if anyone wants one for next Saturday or Sunday. I'll stop the recording.
Yeah, for me,